Hey there guys, how's it going? It's me, old Movie Master. So a viewer asked about a box set that I own, and he wanted to know the movies that are in this box set. So being that I'm going to be mentioning the movies that are in this box set, I wanted to mention some budget box sets that you can find if you're starting to build a movie collection. I wanted to mention this because it gives me an opportunity to talk about one of my favorite companies. When it comes to movies. I have several, but when it comes to cheapo box sets, the two best companies out there are Echo Bridge and Mill Creek. Say what you will about these guys, but this company's release so many movies out there for so cheap. It's amazing. You know, if you want to find horror films for cheap, or you want to just, find westerns or spy films, action, they have it all. And of course, some of the movies that you'll find are not that great, but you'll find some gems too. So the first box set, which is the box set that the viewer was asking, it's Horror 200 Movies, Tales of Terror, 50 discs over 260 hours. And here it is. I got this box set back in April of this year. I think it was April of this year. And I think I paid $50 for it. And I think it's gone down. I think the last time I checked, it's now $40. And you might say, that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, but hear me out. You're paying $40, $50 for 200 movies. So let's say you're paying $40 for this box set. You're paying about 20, 25 cents per movie. That's pretty cheap if you ask me. That's a bargain. So this box set, some of the movies it contains are some movies that you might recognize. The first movie you're going to recognize here is, of course, I think it's in here. Make sure. Bear with me, please. It has Dementia 13, which is in every Echo Bridge Mill Creek box set. You're always going to find Dementia 13 and Night of the Living Dead. And I think Night of the Living Dead is in here also, if I'm not mistaken. That's the first film I was checking for. I wanted to make sure it did or did not have Night of the Living Dead. But it doesn't. But it has movies like Horror Express with Christopher Lee. It has The Gorilla. It has, hold on, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, which is a version from 1920. Autumn Age Vampire, which is an Italian film that, if you like So Bad It's Good, check out Autumn Age Vampire. It's really funny. It's about this guy who he kills victims in order to stay young, or not stay young. I think he had a deformation, and it makes him look handsome. So I think he kidnaps this girl who was in a car accident. The movie doesn't make that much sense, but it's definitely worth watching for how bad it is. It's a really funny movie, unintentionally funny movie. It has The Beast of Yucca Flats. It's a terrible movie, but also a great one to watch if you just want to sit around with a couple of friends, drink some beers, and just laugh at what's on the TV. There's Death Rage with Yul Brynner. There's The Demon with Cameron Mitchell. You have movies like The Legend of Bigfoot, I Bury the Living, I Eat Your Skin, The Indestructible Man, Frankenstein 80. There's a lot of stuff here. A lot of stuff. And let me show you how the box set is. You open it up, and inside it gives you like a little info on the box set. So you can read, and it says, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it says, when you were younger, did you have trouble falling asleep at night because something frightened you? Perhaps it was the dark, something you thought was living inside your closet, something you imagined was hiding under your bed, shadows that played across your window curtains? Did you have scary dreams about being chased by creatures too frightening to describe to your parents after you screamed out for help? Motion pictures have been trying to capture these and many other terrifying images onto film for years. Since the early days of cinema, tales of terror and the macabre have been depicted on the screen to the delight and horror of audiences everywhere. The styles of portraying these gruesome sights may have changed over time, but all the films have one common goal: to frighten you. This collection of movies contains selections from 70 years of filmmaking and features some of the most iconic actors in horror film history. Boris Karloff, Bela Lugosi, Lon Chaney, Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing, Paul Naschy, John Carradine, Ton Slaughter, Barbara Steele, and Peter Lorre are just a few of the stars you'll find in these 200 terrifying tales of vampires, zombies, werewolves, creatures from the darkest nights, creatures from beyond the stars, and more can be found in this amazing collection. Feel free to come along with the rest of the villagers to track down the monsters, but don't forget to bring your own pitchfork and torch. You can leave the light on while watching these stories of the damned and undead, if that makes you feel safe. So yeah, you have like a Rolodex of movies here, and they all come in these black sleeves, and it tells you the movie that's there. So if I were you, like if you buy the set, try to keep them in order, because it brings like a little book, which is called Tales of Terror, and it gives you the movies in order, and which section they're in, and in what DVD you'll find the movie. And it gives you a brief synopsis on the film. It gives you the running time and the year. So this box set is nice. I've seen a couple of movies. Of course, the transfers aren't great. They're taken from VHS transfers. But you're getting a lot of movies for $40, and it's 200 movies for $40. And I've seen it go used for as little as $25. So even $25 is not bad for 200 movies. So, being that I mentioned this one, if you're not into horror, maybe you're into martial arts, there's a box set for you too. And that's 100 martial arts movies, over 140 hours of kung fu combat. This one you can find at Walmart. Last time I checked, I think they were still in Walmart. I'm not sure, because I got this at Walmart. I think I paid, it was on special, it was $10. $10 for 100 movies. I don't know, but that to me sounds like a bargain. So, I think on Amazon it's a little bit more. I'm not sure. But, when you open it up, you get Iron Fist Frenzy. And, hold on a second. And Martial Arts 50 movies. So it's two box sets, you know, put into this little slipcase. I haven't opened it yet, but I've seen a lot of these movies before because over the years I've owned other box sets. I've even owned this box set before and I've sold it, and you know, I said, you know what, why did I sell that box set? You know, it has some good movies. For whatever reason I wanted to trade it for another movie because I didn't have the money at the time, so but I ended up getting this one. So it has movies that I definitely would recommend if you like cheesy kung fu movies. You have the image of Bruce Lee, the real Bruce Lee. You have a lot of Bruceploitation movies. So if you want to build a collection of Bruceploitation movies, pick these up. If you don't know what Bruceploitation is, really quickly, it's when Bruce Lee passed away, a lot of people wanted to cash in on the success of Bruce Lee's, you know, success with kung fu films, especially Enter the Dragon. So they started, you know, hiring a lot of people who kind of look like Bruce Lee, make these cheap films. None of them made much sense, but they were enjoyable for how bad they are. The best one, I would have to say, and sadly it's not in these box sets, it's a movie called Bruce Lee Fights Back from the Grave, which I did a review for a couple of months ago. I think I still have it somewhere around here. Let me check. Yes. Bruce Lee Fights Back from the Grave. This one, I got it on Amazon, but sometimes you'll find it in other Mill Creek box sets. There's one called Martial Arts. It's literally just called Martial Arts, 20 movies, and it has Bruce Lee in the front like this. And that one brings Bruce Lee Fights Back from the Grave. That movie's great. I don't even want to describe the plot because it's just hilarious. So yeah, these two, it brings a lot of kung fu movies. This one brings Shaolin Brothers, 16 Shaolin Riders, 18 Fatal Strikes, Fist from Shaolin, Brave Fist, Big Boss 2, The Magnificent, 7 Steps of Kung Fu, Triple Impact, Woman Avenger, Wu-Tang Magic Kick, Ninja Avenger. And this one brings, aside from the movies that I mentioned before, it brings Black Cobra, which is with Fred Williamson, and it's literally a knockoff version of Cobra, the movie with Stallone. just as a blaxploitation movie. You have Four Shaolin Challengers. You have the pilot of the TV show with Lee Van Cleef, which was called The Master. I think it brings 2 episodes. It brings Max, the first episode, and The Master out of time step. And they turn them into like short movies. Ninja the Protector, my god, that movie, whoa, that's bad. This was Richard Harrison. They literally grabbed an old Hong Kong drama movie and spliced it in with new footage of kung fu antics with ninjas. The original movie had nothing to do with ninjas, and they thought, you know what? Because these drama movies that we have lying here, and we have the rights to them, have Asian actors. Let's put kung fu in them. That will work. That will get audiences to like our movie. So that's what they did, and my god, it's really bad, but it's hilarious. You can tell the footage doesn't mesh because it was shot with a completely different camera, and it was shot in the 70s, and the new footage was shot in the 80s, and they didn't even try to hide the fact that it's a completely different era and it's completely different countries where it's being filmed. But definitely worth watching. And there's a couple of other movies like that here. I think there's another one called Ninja Heat. That one's also a spliced movie. So these two come in that box set. And if you like westerns, there's a box set for you. Sadly, it's out of print. It's a little hard to come by. I remember paying $40 for it when it first came out. This was back in 2007. This is one of the early Milk Creek box sets, and I paid $40 because it was used and it was not in the best brand new condition. And that's Western Collection, 250 movies, 250 westerns. When will I watch these? I have no clue. But if you like westerns, this box set's worth owning because you have movies from John Wayne, from Lee Van Cleef, Roy Rogers. You have The Lone Ranger. You have so much stuff. If you like spaghetti westerns, there's a couple of them in here too. There's Death Rides a Horse. There's Boot Heel with Terrence Hill. There's The Dawn Rider with John Wayne. God's Gun with Lee Van Cleef. There's even a movie called The Gay Amigo. I have no clue what it's about, but it's there. There's McClintock with John Wayne. A lot of them are public domain, but keep in mind, 250 westerns, of course, not in the best transfers, but they come in like this. You open it up, and similar to the previous box set, you can see that they're individual little cases, and it comes like in the old school Echo Bridge cases that you would open up like this. I actually prefer these more, with a little Velcro. What fell from there? I have no clue. Oh, it's the receipt. So yeah, brings 5 of them with all 250 movies. So those are 3 box sets that I highly recommend if you are into westerns, martial arts, and horror. They're great if if you're building a collection because you're instantly building 250 movies, 100 movies, 200 horror movies really quickly like that. And I remember when I started collecting, on especially DVDs, I would hunt for these down because if, for whatever reason, I had watched a lot of my other movies and I was in the mood to watch a new horror movie, I could easily do it because I had those little box sets. And I think I mentioned these before. There's these. And these. I remember this is one of the first ones I got. And you have like movies like Gamera. You have a lot of these like 50s sci-fi movies that are really cheesy, but they're enjoyable. So those are the 3 box sets that I recommend if you're starting to build a collection. And sadly, the Western one is a little harder to come by. But the first 2 you can still find really easily. You can even find these 2 individually packaged. And I think it's like $10 if you buy it individually. If you buy them together and you find them at Walmart, you're getting a good bargain if you find them together. Because I paid only $10 at the time. It was a special. I don't know if they still have it. So anyway, until next time, guys. Thanks.